Okay, yes, we welcome back. Now we're moving into the realm of technology. MainOne Cable. Quite a few people must know that name by now if you do anything to do with internet and other IT and technology issues or business. The MainOne Cable is a submarine communications cable stretching from Portugal to South Africa with landings along the route in various West African countries. On April 28, 2008, it was announced that the Main Street Technologies was awarded a turnkey supply contract for the MainOne cable system to TVCO Telecommunications. MainOne Cable is a leading provider of innovative telecom services and network solutions for business in West Africa. Now we want to have a chat about what they're doing with regards to their data center and a number of other things to do with MainOne. We have very limited time, but there's a lot to talk about. And to have this conversation with us, it's a pleasure to welcome the man who is in charge of their data center. He's the project manager, Mr. Gbenga Adegbiji. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much.
So, the way to start will be, we understand you're building the largest commercial data center in Nigeria. Why are you building this, and why has a data center become the most important thing for MainOne at this point in time?
Okay, thank you very much. Globally, the business environment is changing. People are relying more and more on data. Businesses rely on information, for profitability and all that. So now those information has to be stored somewhere. There has to be access, there has to be security, there has to be everything, to ensure that, information is retrieved when it is expected, So that is one aspect. In Nigeria, for instance, the last 12 years has witnessed a lot of, maybe 13 years, witnessed a lot of development in telecommunications, and right now we have about teledensity of about 92%, which means everybody has phone now, with Android, iPad, and all kinds of bandwidth-hungry devices. So, a lot of people now play along with data, information, and all that stuff. So those things has to be stored somewhere. And before now, there's not been the right technology. There has not been the right platform to do that in Nigeria because the connectivity was not there. Now we have connectivity, as you know, MainOne has international connectivity to other parts of the world. We also have metropolitan area fiber. So we have the infrastructure now to support data center, and we have the capability and the capacity now in Nigeria to do that, and that's why we're doing
Can this be regarded as MainOne diversifying?
No, I won't say diversifying. I would say maybe like vertical integration, if you can put it that way. Now, what
your main business is underground, underwater cables, isn't it?
Well, if you look at technology and IT, everything, has to be provided together. If you have underground cable or you have the undersea cable, for instance, the information that you are passing across that is also stored somewhere. So, and before now, we've seen a lot of our customers asking us to, they want to actually, in fact, this business was actually called out of the request of our customers to say, hey, look, I don't want to do this anymore. Can I have a place to put my server, my racks in your, and then you provide me all the services all together. And that is what is driving that.
When you look at what happens in the developed world, large corporate organizations have massive backroom where they've got their data center. How much of a shortage do we have in terms of data center by big corporate organizations in Nigeria? And is that the reason why you're entering into that market, to create enough to cover the gap that is being created by that shortfall?
Okay. Now, if you look at, you rightly said, all over the world, in South Africa and in Europe and America, you have big organizations like Cisco and a couple of other companies having big data centers. In Nigeria, a lot of times before now, people have to go offshore to secure their data, to have all their information stored. And that comes with a transmission cost, because then you should be able to have also procure the access to be able to retrieve those information when you need them. So we identify that in Nigeria, and we say, hey, look, why go abroad? If we have the capacity in Nigeria, we have the capability, and we have all the resources to do that. So that is actually what is driving, our approach to the new line of business.
Will this be an expensive service to render to your customers?
Really, funny enough, it's even a more cost-effective option for our customers. For instance, before now, people will have to build their own capacity, build their own data center by themselves, like banks and a corporate organization will have to build. And now the cost of building, the cost of securing those information, the cost of getting people to actually maintain it is so expensive that it becomes not economically viable for organizations to have their own data center. And that is why we're coming in to say, hey, look, let all these people come together, and then we have a kind of a shared services where you only procure what you need when you need it.
So what kind of customers are you looking to market the service to?
Excuse me. We have, currently we have some customers actually. I mean, we are in the line of business anyway, so we're looking at banks, corporate organizations, oil companies, and governments, parastatal. Now, so many state governments now are they're capturing data of people and all that stuff, and that has to be stored somewhere. So, it's actually a business-to-business kind of a platform.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering that in terms of tiering rates of data centers, what is it that is peculiar about what the service you're looking to provide?
Okay, when you look at tiering, tiering is actually an approach developed by a company in the US, Uptime Institute, which is actually like the regulator, if you want to put it that way, to classify the reliability of data center. Now, you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. We are building tier 3. Now, tier 1 is the conventional data room that people have, where you don't have any form of redundancy. So when your system goes down,
it goes down. That's it.
It goes down. That's it. And your downtime is the main time to get back to service. Tier 2 is a little bit advanced of that, which provide you with maybe a kind of a backup. Tier 3 is a more robust platform where you actually don't have a single point of failure, so everything is replicated. So, and that is what we are positioned to do, and that is actually what we're offering in Nigeria. So what that means is that guarantees you the security that your information requires. So in terms of uptime, in terms of the access, in terms of being able to get your information when it is needed. That is what we're...
So if you were to itemize the key benefits in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of this tier 3 rates that you're delivering, what would it be if you're to list 1, 2, or 3 of them?
First, I want to say cost effectiveness, especially for the customers, because you don't have to build your own anymore. And in terms of getting organizations to be focused in their core business, so you also don't want to worry about certain things that is not peculiar to your business. You outsource that to someone else. I also want to say information security. A lot of time when people build their own data center, you are not sure of what your next neighbor is doing, and his activity can actually take your data center or take your operations down. So in a tier 3 data center, the siting and all the security and everything around it has factorized, all the kind of condition that may happen, and we can guarantee that your information is secure. The other thing is, for MainOne, for instance, why MainOne? Because there are a couple of other, I think there's one other tier 3 data center in Nigeria. What is peculiar about us is the fact that, we have the submarine international connectivity, like I said. Now we have the data center. We also have about 350 kilometers of metro fiber in Lagos. What that means is that wherever you are as a business, you are in Ikeja, you are in Papa, you are in Surulere, you actually have protected access to where your data is. Because one thing is for you to have the data stored and secured. The other thing is for you to be able to access it when it is needed. So which is actually what differentiates. And there's nobody in the industry today that can actually be proud of that.
Can I digress a little bit and ask you what has been the experience of MainOne regarding right-of-way? Some organizations, especially in the telecoms industry, they do say that issues of right-of-way sort of like limits their ability to deliver service excellently well. Is that the case with the MainOne as well?
I want to say yes. and this has been a challenge, you know, a serious challenge actually, and that is why a lot of people ask, now that we have so much capacity, international capacity, why is it that the internet is still very, very expensive? The reason is because we have the capacity there, but it's difficult for us to take it across to you, the end user, because of this issue of right of way. So, but I think this is changing. I think the government, the federal government, has actually identified the need, you know, to address that, and there is the NCC is actually addressing that, and hopefully MainOne is actually also going to be at the forefront of that.
Okay, so we've got a few questions there from those who are watching at home now. We've got Chema, who says she wants to know, I'm assuming Chema is a lady, wants to know why you built your data center in Lekki.
Well, the choice of Lekki is born out of so many things. The Tier 3 requirements stipulate certain conditions by which a data center of that class must be built in terms of the environmental conditions and all that. For instance, one of those things is you are not allowed to build your data center at the approach part or the takeoff part of an aeroplane, for instance. So there are so many other things. You cannot be too close to a gas station and all that, just to ensure that your information is secured. So the Lekki one provides the diversity in terms of, a lot of businesses reside in VI and Lagos. So we have the geographical diversity that is required for geographical redundancy, but it's also close enough